Good morning. Hello, everyone. I'm Gerald Harris from 13 Action News. It is an honor to welcome you to the 25th annual Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Unity Day celebration. This year's theme is Our Story, Our Strength, a Unity Day of reflection and hope. Thanks to each of you for joining us for this special day of remembrance. We hope you find this morning's event to be inviting, thought-provoking, and commemorative. As usual, you will enjoy several performances by some very talented local artists, as well as hear stories shared from prominent community leaders Robert Smith and Bishop Robert Culp, highlighting our local history. It is now my pleasure to present a welcome video from the University of Toledo President, Dr. James Holloway, and Wade Kapsakavich, Mayor of the City of Toledo.
Welcome, and thank you for joining us for the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Unity Day celebration. This is the 25th of these annual celebrations presented by the University of Toledo and the City of Toledo, and I'm pleased to continue this collaboration to honor the legacy of this important civil rights leader. Dr. King advocated tirelessly for his vision of justice and brotherhood, and in 1967 he presented his speech, The Other America, in which he said, "In a real sense, we're all caught in an inescapable network of mutuality." This theme threads endlessly through the tapestry of his work. That as Americans, we are tied together by bonds of mutual interest, if not always bonds of affection. We must learn to live together as brothers, or perish together as fools, is a phrase Dr. King used many times in his remarks during the civil rights struggles of the 1960s. More than 6 decades after his march in Washington, Dr. King's words and his model of courageous nonviolence remain a roadmap for the advancement of our social systems, and his exhortations for unity remain as important today as they were when I was young. The legacy of this astonishing leader reminds us that we must resist demands to define and divide ourselves by our differences. Instead, we must find strength in our unity. The 2026 Unity Day celebration theme is Our Story, Our Strengths, a Unity Day of reflection and hope. Our celebration envisions a community united in the enduring principles of nonviolence, justice, love, faith, courage, service, forgiveness, and hope. But this is not, if we are honest, the community in which we always live. Yet if the long arc of the moral universe bends towards justice, it is the obligation of each of us to follow that path to the best of our capabilities and foresight. Unity is not a place, it is not a state of a community of people, it is an unending effort that each of us must make to respect and support our companions in this nation, knowing that together we are stronger, better than each of us alone. Learning to live together and to pledge our mutual support to our fellow humans is an unending project, but one that is full of promise. The journey is worth the effort. And unity has never meant uniformity. The beauty of human communities is in finding our common purposes of concord, even in the presence of our diversity and differences. Thank you for participating in this Martin Luther King Jr. Unity Day event. We hope you enjoy these performances and the stories that they tell about who we are as Toledoans.
Good morning, Toledo. It's an honor to speak with you today as we reflect on the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and the work that continues in our city. This year's theme, Our Story, Our Strength, a Unity Day of reflection and hope, reminds us that the stories we share and preserve give our community strength and guide our future. Toledo has a rich Black history, full of stories of resilience, courage, and achievement. Preserving this history is essential, not just to honor the past, but to inspire the generations that follow. This history reminds us that Dr. King's work is far from finished. It calls us to reflect, to act, and to build a community grounded in unity and hope, especially at a time when our society faces new challenges and division. Toledo is a city of diversity, rich in culture, history, and tradition. We are home to people from many walks of life, backgrounds, and experiences. As we work to strengthen our community, we foster understanding and unity. Whether it is through our efforts in economic development, neighborhood revitalization, youth programs, or our commitment to inclusivity, we are dedicated to creating opportunities for all. Just as Dr. King sought to bring people together, we too are striving to bridge gaps, whether in education, access to resources, or fostering better communication between our neighborhoods and the city at large. Our story is carried not only in archives and photographs, but also in the voices of people who help build Toledo every day. By listening to one another, we can build a stronger city for everyone, even when differences seem to pull us apart. This year, we are proud to honor Bishop Robert A. Culp with the key to the city of Toledo, recognizing his decades of leadership and service in Toledo. Bishop Culp has guided First Church of God for more than 60 years, established community programs supporting youth, families, and those experiencing homelessness, and helped shape civic and social initiatives that strengthen our city. His work embodies the unity, hope, and resilience that this year's MLK theme celebrates, and we are honored that he will serve as our keynote speaker for the celebration. Music and art carry these stories too. Today we hear the voices of our community in song, celebrating resilience, culture, and connection. Performances show us the power of heritage and the joy that strengthens our city. Dr. King once said that injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. His words are as relevant today as they were in the 1960s. It is our collective responsibility to break down the barriers that divide us and build a community rooted in love, respect, and equality. In Toledo, we uphold Dr. King's vision through programs for youth empowerment, affordable housing initiatives, and economic development efforts that create good-paying jobs. We work every day to make his dream a reality. Today, as we honor Dr. King, let us reflect on the work that lies ahead. Our story is one of strength, perseverance, and hope. It calls us to reflect honestly on our past and to work toward a future where justice and opportunity reach every person in Toledo. Let us move forward together. Let us listen, learn, and lift one another up. Let us honor Dr. King by choosing unity in words and action. Our work is not finished. Our strength grows every time we stand together, especially when the world around us reminds us how much that unity matters.
And now, everyone, we ask that you prepare yourself for the Black National Anthem, Lift Every Voice and Sing, brought to us by music artist and City of Toledo firefighter Nate Hicks.
Lift every voice and sing until earth and heaven ring. Let it ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise as high as the listening skies. Let it resound as loud as the rolling seas. Oh, sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun, let us march on until victory is won. Oh, stony the roads we trod, and bitter the chastening rod, felt in the days when hope unborn has died, yet with a steady beat have not our weary feet come to the place where which our fathers sighed. Oh, we have come over a way that with tears has been watered, and we have come treading our path through the blood of the slaughtered. Out from the gloomy past until now we stand at last, where the white gleam of our bright star is cast, facing the rising sun of our new day begun. Let us march on until victory is won.
That song was a perfect start to today's program. Words cannot express the tremendous division and grief that our communities are feeling locally, nationally, and globally. We would like to take this time for a moment of silence in honor of individuals whose lives have been and continue to be lost unnecessarily. May you all rest in peace. What a great performance by the Toledo School for the Arts Afro-Caribbean Dance and Drum Ensemble. A reminder of the wonderfully gifted young people we have here in Toledo.
So, welcome to the African American Legacy Project on this most important day as we celebrate Dr. Martin Luther King. My name is Robert Smith. I'm the founding director of the African American Legacy Project. We were founded in 2004. That was when I didn't have gray hair. We are here because we have this deep and abiding interest in history and how it ties to leadership and how it ties into the community, and how in fact we've followed Dr. King as a model through servant leadership. And many of the people that we will introduce you today actually are natural servant leaders who have served our community, the Toledo community, very, very well. So why don't you join us? In 2025, I'd like to introduce you to Dr. Samantha Adams. She was president of the Toledo chapter of the NAACP. Dr. Adams, you can see her legacy through her children. One was Dr. Cecilia Adams, a former member of the Toledo Board of Education, a scientist herself, but she also served on Toledo City Council. Both Dr. Cecilia Adams and her 4 daughters were abundantly engaged in community at every level. You can see evidence of community. You can see evidence of service to community. You can see, if you want, Dr. King's footprint on community, factually through the work that the people have demonstrated throughout the period here in our city of Toledo. In reality, this area demonstrates communication and education. Dr. Helen Cooks, University of Toledo, who was co-founder of Toledo Excel. Her service to the community is demonstrated through the young men and women who are now leaders in the community. And also there's Dr. Durant, Dr. Ramos Durant, who sits beside Mr. Christopher Ellis, 2 former superintendents of Toledo Public Schools. Dr. Durant's work is a byproduct of Mr. Ellis's work, whose work is a byproduct of Mr. Emory Leverett's work. And you can see this continuation, this deep and abiding joy and understanding of the importance of education. When we talk about community leadership and servant leadership, we have to distinguish many families, but one family that really sticks out in my mind is the Baker family. All of them understand the community landscape. All of them are able to work within and outside their specific culture. But most importantly, all of them have this gift of giving. All of them have serving. They understand, they know who they are. Feet were always firmly planted on the ground. And I need to make sure you understand the Bakers had 2 sisters. Dr. Barbara Baker created the Toledo Excel program that was at Robinson High School. And their other sister, their older sister, was a practical nurse who is no longer with us. So that's a full family. And now the next generation, there's Aaron and Frank Jr. and on and on and on. So what we really have is prime examples of how a family starting from meager circumstances can elevate themselves and then turn around and give back and be extremely effective in the community. Dr. King wasn't a political figure, but he dealt in the realm of politics. Out of that become men and women who weren't political figures, but went into the realm of politics or government or service. And here at the Legacy Project, we've been able to collect extraordinary stories on men and women who have served our community. We just celebrated Mr. Eddie Cole, who was who turned 105 years old. Mr. Cole was an extraordinary attorney who was originally from Mississippi. He came here and Toledo and built an excellent career in law, and his wife, Mrs. Adrienne Cole, was the other co-founder of the Toledo Excel, worked in unison to ensure that our community continued to maintain a standard of excellence between those 2 people. I can guarantee you the work that they did was of consequence, And that's what you'll find with most of our political figures. The work Mr. Ford has did is consequential. I don't think the community still knows all that he's done. One of our goals here at the Legacy Project is to ensure that we document his full life's work, and it's been extraordinary, from health insurance to the smoking ban but reaching down deep into the community. And then, of course, Mayor Ford was elegant in his work as a politician. I would like to point out one of my favorite people in the whole world, and Judge Charles Donahue. He worked tirelessly for this community, perfectly giving to the community, perfect leadership. They led servant leaders, they led by example. The quality of their work and the quality of their life are the reasons why they're both here in this museum and should be celebrated by future generations. The stories should be told. We are very thankful to have had the opportunity to collect these stories, and we hope that the next generation, those that follow, will continue the mission.
Sharing our stories, our history, is the cornerstone of equality education. Dr. King recognized this truth and fought for equal opportunity for education for all. As founder of the African American Legacy Project of Northwest Ohio, it is clear Robert Smith works tirelessly to preserve these stories, the rich history of Toledo. His work not only educates, but helps students pursue their dreams and paves the way for future leaders as well as the entire community to learn from the past.
When the architects of our republic wrote the magnificent words of the Constitution of the Declaration of Independence, they were signing a promissory note to which every American was to fall heir. This note was a promise that all men, yes, black men as well as white men, would be guaranteed the unalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It is obvious today that America has defaulted on this promissory note, insofar as her citizens of color are concerned. Instead of honoring this sacred obligation, America has given the Negro people a bad check, a check which has come back marked insufficient funds. But we refuse to believe that the Bank of Justice is bankrupt.
We refuse to believe that there are insufficient funds in the great values of opportunity in this nation. So we have come to cash this check, a check that will give us upon demand the riches of freedom and the security of justice. We have also come to this hallowed spot to remind America of the fierce urgency of now. This is no time to engage in the luxury of cooling off or to take the tranquilizing drug of gradualism. Now is the time to make real the promises of democracy. Now is the time to rise from the dark and desolate valley of segregation to the sunlit path of racial justice. Now is the time to lift our nation from the quicksands of racial injustice to the solid rock of brotherhood. Now is the time to make justice a reality for all of God's children. We must forever conduct our struggle on the high plane of dignity and discipline. We must not allow our creative protests to denigrate into physical violence.
Again and again, we must rise to the majestic heights of meeting physical force with soul force. The marvelous new militancy which has engulfed the Negro community must not lead us to distrust of all white people. For many of our white brothers, as evidenced by their presence here today, have come to realize that their destiny is tied with our destiny. They have come to realize that their freedom is inextricably bound to our freedom. We cannot walk alone. As we walk, we must make the pledge that we always march ahead. We cannot turn back. There are those who are asking the devotees of civil rights, when will you be satisfied?
We can never be satisfied as long as a Negro is a victim of the unspeakable horrors of police brutality. We can never be satisfied as long as our bodies, heavy with the fatigue of travel, cannot gain lodging in the motels of the highways and the hotels of the cities. We cannot be satisfied as long as a Negro's basic mobility is far from a smaller ghetto to a larger one. We can never be satisfied as long as our children are stripped of their selfhood and robbed of their dignity by signs stating "for whites only." We cannot be satisfied as long as a Negro in Mississippi cannot vote and a Negro in New York believes he has nothing for which to vote. No, we are not satisfied, and we will not be satisfied until justice rolls down like waters and righteousness like a mighty stream.
I am not unmindful that some of you have come here out of great trials and tribulations. Some of you have come fresh from narrow jail cells. Some of you have come from areas where your quest for freedom left you battered by the storms of persecution and staggered by the winds of police brutality. You have been veterans of creative suffering. Continue to work with the faith that unearned suffering is redemptive. Go back to Mississippi. Go back to Alabama. Go back to South Carolina. Go back to Georgia. Go back to Louisiana. Go back to the slums and ghettos of our northern cities, knowing that somehow this situation can and will be changed. Let us not wallow in the valley of despair. I say to you today, my friends, so even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream.
I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out its true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, the sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream that one day, even the state of Mississippi, a state sweltering with the heat of injustice, sweltering with the heat of oppression, will be transformed into an oasis of freedom and justice. I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character.
I have a dream today. I have a dream that one day down in Alabama, with its vicious racists, with its governor having his lips dripping with the words of interposition and nullification. One day right there in Alabama, little black boys and black girls will be able to join hands with little white boys and white girls as sisters and brothers. I have a dream today. I have a dream that one day every valley shall be exalted, every hill and mountain shall be made low, the rough places will be made plain, and the crooked places will be made straight. And the glory of all of the Lord shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together.
And if America is to be a great nation, this must become true. So let freedom ring from the prodigious hilltops of New Hampshire. Let freedom ring from the mighty mountains of New York. Let freedom ring from the heightening Alleghenies of Pennsylvania. Let freedom ring from the snow-capped Rockies of Colorado. Let freedom ring from the curvaceous slopes of California. But not only that, let freedom ring from the Stone Mountain of Georgia. Let freedom ring from Lookout Mountains of Tennessee. Let freedom ring from every hill and molehill of Mississippi. From every mountainside, let freedom ring.
And when that happens, when we allow freedom to ring, when we let it ring from every village and every hamlet, from every state and every city, we will be able to speed up that day when all of God's children, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics, will be able to join hands and sing in the words of the old Negro spiritual, free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, we are free at last. The community ensemble reading of the I Have a Dream speech shows it truly takes people of all talents, backgrounds, and trades to make a community great. And we've got great representation from just about every corner of our community online today. And we would like to recognize and thank all of our special guests virtually joining us this morning. Among those to be recognized in no particular order are those who are faith-based leaders, any elected or appointed officials, City of Toledo and UT employees, U.S. veterans, emergency service personnel, union members, educators, community leaders, volunteers, and those who work for a school or community agency. Thank you all. And we certainly want to thank the MLK Junior Unity Day Celebration Committee, led by the City of Toledo's Human Relations Commission and the University of Toledo for putting this event on, as well as the University of Toledo Board of Trustees. Thank you. And finally, we've saved the best for last, our students. If you are an elementary school, middle school, high school, or college student, thank you. Thank you for logging in on your day off to celebrate the life and legacy of Dr. King. And thank you for continuing to give us hope in the future of our local and world community. You are Dr. King's dream manifested. Next, we have Aaron Baker of the City of Toledo's Human Relations Commission introducing our keynote speaker.
Hello, my name is Aaron Baker, immediate past chair of the City of Toledo Human Relations Commission. It is a pleasure to come together today with the community to celebrate the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., to remember his life's mission and core values, to commemorate his unparalleled vision, courage, and steadfast commitment to equality through the advancement of civil rights. In that respect, the Human Relations Commission strives to uphold his legacy by demonstrating the principles of social responsibility through community engagement. It is our honor and privilege to support a safe, energetic, and livable city by working with residents to overcome prejudice and build mutual respect. We encourage you all to continue the conversation by sharing our history, our stories, not just today, but every day. Be a part of this year's MLK experience. Join us as we support local authors, storytellers, and entrepreneurs. Join us for storytime and yoga with author Aya Khalil and certified yoga instructor Aaron Marsh. While supplies last, copies of Aya's book, The Great Band Books Bake Sale, will be available as a giveaway for all attendees. We welcome all to a community-wide living memory gathering hosted by storytelling specialist Malika Bell of Mosaic Strategic Solutions. This event is a unique experience where a safe space is created for people to share stories and foster community. Don't miss this powerful opportunity to walk in as strangers and leave feeling seen, connected, and changed. In addition, the Toledo Museum of Art will be open today, honoring Dr. King through special exhibits and programming. Today, it is my pleasure to introduce this year's Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Unity Day celebration keynote speaker, Bishop Robert Culp. Bishop Culp is a revered faith leader, civil rights activist, and transformational community builder whose life's work has shaped the story of Toledo for more than 6 decades. Prior to his retirement, Bishop Culp served as a longtime pastor of First Church of God, where he led with conviction, compassion, and a deep belief that unity is both our greatest strength and our greatest responsibility. Guided by values aligned with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s vision, Bishop Culp has dedicated his ministry to advancing justice, expanding opportunity, and fostering meaningful connection across lines of race, faith, and background. Under his leadership, First Church of God became a beacon of community empowerment, supporting equitable housing, education access, workforce development, as well as youth and family stability throughout Toledo. A founding member of the Toledo Community Coalition, Bishop Culp has consistently brought people together to confront inequality and build shared solutions. His commitment to dialogue, collaboration, and reconciliation reflects the heart of the 2026 theme, Our Story, Our Strength, a unity day of reflection and hope. Through his leadership, countless Toledoans have been inspired to reflect on our collective journey, acknowledge the struggles that shape us, and work with renewed hope toward a more equitable future. Bishop Culp's enduring contributions have earned him local and national recognition as a champion of civil rights, unity, and beloved community. His voice remains a steady moral compass, reminding us that our strength emerges when we honor our shared story and walk forward together. We proudly recognize this lifetime of service that continues to uplift, connect, and inspire. Please welcome Bishop Robert Culp.
My name is Miles Stanley. I'm here with the City of Toledo, and we are here with Bishop Robert A. Culp. Bishop Culp, thank you so much for joining us today.
My privilege. I'm advanced in years now and can't do what I used to do, but I thank God for the opportunities to share this story.
And we're super thankful to have you here as well. When you reflect on your decades of service in Toledo, what parts of your story have most shaped the leader you've become today?
I've spent the last 64 years of my life here in Toledo, been retired for 2 years now. But it was the kind of city that challenged me. The church, when I came, had been through a bit of a rough period, and they didn't want to require much change or new challenges. So it gave me opportunity to spend time in the community. At one point, I had got so involved that I was the president of the NAACP. I was the president of the Interdenominational Ministerial Alliance, and there was a political group called PEP, Political Education for Progress, and I was the leader of that group. So it filled up my time and gave me opportunity to really get to know the community. The issues here were typical of everything from segregated schools, not by law, but by practice here. Housing was very segregated here, and these just almost any issue that was a national issue was a local issue as well. And I found, well, back then, remember this was the 60s, and back then the church and ministers were the key leaders, almost because they had to be. Anybody else's job was in jeopardy. But because the African American community supported the preacher, he could take risks. And it just happened that I came at a time when Toledo had several ministers who were active in not only church issues, but civil rights issues. And they were kind enough to take me under their wing. And I was young. They taught me a lot about life, about the church, and about community. And that's kind of where I got my start here, at the right time with the right people.
So this year's MLK Day, Unity Day, the theme is our story, our strength. What would you say is the greatest strength for the Black community as we face levels of struggles and of trying to obtain unity? What would you say is our greatest strength right now?
What is our greatest strength?
Yes.
Hey, I think it's those Blacks who get in position to make a difference now. That, to me, has been a real part of it. They brought good minds, a good attitude, good spirit, and did some excellent things. Funny story was when I first came here, the University of Toledo invited a group of Blacks to come and meet with the leadership at the university. I was so new in town, they didn't know, the young Black leadership didn't know I was a preacher. And they had some negative things to say about preachers. I didn't say anything till after we finished and got back. I said to them, well, that day is changing because what you don't realize is I'm a preacher. I guess I looked and sounded enough like a young, educated Black man that I must be in some type of business or something there, but actually I was a preacher. And one of my early goals was to bridge that gap between the church and Black middle-class leadership and get them involved. Back then, things were quite tense, even in Toledo here. We had passed a fair housing ordinance. back then. And the broader community got a petition together, put it on the ballot, and voted it down. It was probably the best housing ordinance in the country. So I was president at NAACP, so I said, we're going to have a protest march. And interestingly enough, is that even black leadership said, we're making progress in the city, why don't we just leave that alone? So the media came to my house and said, here's the response we're getting from the community. I said, no, there's still going to be a march. I said, there may only be 6 people in that march. I said, that's me, my wife, and my 4 children here. We're going to have a march. Well, more than 500 people turned out for that march. And the community got the understanding then that we were together, that we weren't going to just sit down and let happen, whatever would happen. It was not easy. When I had the NAACP and what we were striving to do, every night between 2 and 4 a.m., my phone rang. And was always, at least I thought, the same person. The voice sounded the same, of a white male who would simply say, "Inward, we're going to kill you." It shook my family up so that I came home late one evening after a community meeting and walked into my bedroom, and my wife jumped up in the middle of the bed with a knife in her hand. She was so sure. She thought I was already in, somebody to harm our family. That's how real the threat was. But there were groups of persons who protected us, saw about us back in the day, and it all worked out.
Yeah. So that was a very good example of collective action. You're talking about when you had, your group that showed up and you thought it would just be you, but it turned out to be a much bigger crowd came and supported you all. Would you say you've seen collective action here in Toledo? Any examples that give you hope?
Actually, I had met Dr. King here in Toledo. A white businessman in September of 1967, a few months before he passed, or was killed. We brought him to the city here. I had heard Dr. King speak once. I was raised in a church tradition that didn't get involved in community things. That was worldly stuff, even politics. So when I went to college, I was just preparing to do ministry and get people ready for heaven, even though they were living in a kind of hell right here. So back then the Montgomery boycott had started, and a friend of Dr. King's was pastoring. I went to college in Anderson, Indiana, at Anderson University, and he invited King during the Montgomery boycott to come to Anderson to speak. So several students asked me, "Come on, go with us." And hearing King as a college student changed my life and my view of civil rights and the need for the church, the moral aspect of it all. Two of the people who were involved with him and Jesse Jackson in Chicago had been mentors of mine, Addie Wyatt and Willie Barrow, two women. Before I came to Toledo, I had spent a few years in Danville, Illinois, pastoring a small church there. And they had mentored me and helped me a great deal. And they're the ones that taught me the principles that King operated by. Yeah. To this day, if I meet with a group, I want to hear from everybody in the group. Yeah. That was King's practice. Yes. And they taught me those kinds of principles. When he came to Toledo, a few of us were invited to the gentleman's home for a luncheon and to spend that afternoon with Dr. King. It's the only time I really had a chance to be close to him. Yeah. I'd been to the March on Washington and other things, but to get close to him was that day. And what I marveled at was how he was able to be such a common man who wasn't carried away with his importance and value to the country, not just the black community, and the stories that he told us and shared with us, and taught me a valuable lesson way back then. Just be yourself.
Such important lessons that we all have to continue to remember and to learn and to practice as you continue to do. What other lessons have you learned throughout your life, especially when it comes to sustaining unity throughout the community?
Yeah, back then, the lessons that I learned actually for me started with my own family in Western Pennsylvania. My mother was a national figure in our church, and I literally, she would invite guests to our house, and I would literally sit in the next room and listen to their conversations and how she would deal with people. I had already heard or knew what she felt was the best route to go. But she always listened carefully, gave them a chance to speak. Amazingly, I found out from those who had spent a lot of time with King that he was the same way. They would have meetings, and these folk would tell me how Jesse Jackson and Hosea Williams, how all these leaders would fuss and argue and debate issues and matters. Yeah. King would just sit there and listen to it all, let them all have it. And then he would, having heard it all, decide this is the route. Here's how you lead. Choose the best route, and we'll all be committed to carry it out. Yeah. And it's what I've sought to practice all of my life since then, as I learned. The key thing was not so much that I knew, but how much I learned from a family that taught me, listen to those who are in leadership, who've been successful. Mm-hmm. They'll teach you how to become a success yourself. Yeah. And so find the major issues. Don't get carried away with minor things. Mm-hmm. And dwell on those. Yeah. And it will help a great deal.
Yeah. Would you say you've seen any examples of hope rising in Toledo from our youth and from our leaders right now?
Yes, I do see hope for Toledo. There were some people here who helped a great deal. I can't think of his name. A Jewish lawyer was extremely helpful for us back in the day. And the Jewish community was always helpful here. At least during my time as being active, they were very helpful. There were segments of the white community, and so it's no longer a matter of black people, but it's an awareness of what happens to the poor, what happens to foreigners. King would have been very helpful in all those, because he had an interest in, he was not just interested in African Americans.
Yeah.
He was interested in the whole of humanity.
Right.
He didn't try to lord it over you. He didn't try to prove he was smarter than you. He was just a great, I was at the March on Washington, and I still remember standing there in that seemed like almost numberless crowd, and hearing his "I Have a Dream" speech, and tears started flowing down my cheeks, and I vowed that I'm going to spend my life making sure that dream comes to pass. It still isn't fulfilled, but we've made a lot of progress.
Absolutely.
We've still got a long way to go.
Absolutely, absolutely. But the work is always there, and it is just amazing seeing what we have accomplished thus far. Final question for you. So as we honor Dr. King today, what kind of encouraging message would you like to leave with the community and with Toledo as we continue to write our story?
First, honor him. And the best way to honor him is not simply by remembering his birthday, but honor him by duplicating the kinds of attitude and principles and relationships. To this day, people that I know have negative views of African Americans. Because of King, I seek to still find something worth regarding as far as they are concerned. King seemed to be able to do that. And if we can get the right attitude and never be satisfied with gains here or there, as you know, Dr. King had a full plate. He not only was it civil rights, but his attitude about war and peace and all kinds of issues. He was just an unusual man. And first, we need to know his history. Sad part is that young children, even black children, when I ask them what they know about Martin Luther King, their minds seem to go blank, and they don't know the story.
Right.
And somehow we've got to do a much better job of helping them to know our history. You know, I mean, the national education people may try to rewrite the books, but there are enough of us alive who know the real story, who need to share it with our own generation coming.
Yes.
And keep up the fight. Because if King was among us, he would still be keeping up the fight, even though he's honored with everything almost you can give to a man. Seemed to me he never let it go to his head. He always felt there's work yet to do, and we'll spend our days doing it.
Excellent. Bishop Cole, thank you so much for joining us today to share your wisdom and your history and your experience with us.
My joy and my privilege. Thank you.
Yes, and then thank you all for joining us today.
Wow, thank you, Bishop Culp, for grounding us in wisdom that honors our past while calling us forward with purpose. Your words remind us that our story, our strength, are born from the hope created together by a united community. As today's Unity Day celebration comes to an end shortly, may we carry your charge with us as we reflect deeply and act boldly beyond today. Please join me in now welcoming Councilmember Brittany Jones for closing remarks.
Happy MLK Day, Toledo. Thank you for joining us on this day of hope, remembrance, and resolve. Today, as we honor the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., we gather under the theme, Our Story, Our Strength, a Unity Day of hope and reflection. This theme reminds us that the story of America, one of progress, struggle, and possibility, has never been written by one person alone. It has been shaped by generations who dare to dream, to stand up, and to lock arms with one another in pursuit of justice. Our story is collective. It is woven from millions of voices, each carrying truth, courage, and the determination to build a better world. Dr. King taught us that strength is not measured by power over others, but by our willingness to lift each other up. Strength is found in partnership. It is found in community. It is found in the everyday acts of compassion and courage that moves us closer to the beloved community he envisioned, one grounded in justice, equal opportunity, and love for all people. As we reflect today, we acknowledge the work still before us. Inequity, bias, poverty, and violence still affect our neighborhoods and our nation. But reflection without action is only half of the story. Dr. King didn't ask us to simply remember his dream. He asked us to live it. He asked us to step into our shared strength, especially when the road is difficult. So today, let us use this moment to recommit ourselves to unity, to listen more deeply, to stand against injustice more boldly, to choose hope even when fear is easier, and to remember that each of us has a role in shaping the chapter of our shared story. As we move throughout the day and every day afterwards, may we carry forward Dr. King's unwavering belief that a more just, more compassionate future is always within reach, only if we reach for it together. Our story is not finished, our strength is not exhausted, and our hope, renewed by days like this, will continue to guide us towards the world Dr. King dreamed of. Let us go forward with love.
Thank you all for joining us for the 25th annual Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Unity Day celebration.